All right, email time here, Keith, and obviously everybody's still talking about the AL MVP race. That's about the only race anybody's talking about. And Mark is sending today's daily Miguel Cabrera MVP email. Before I have to listen to Keith Law once again make up some new statistical reference.
Making them up.
Why are you making things up, Keith? Why are you doing that?
Exactly.
What is wrong with you?
Fabricator.
I don't even have to go on, do I? He quotes the Detroit Free Press about
Which
Cabrera.
is actually, by the way, that came from, he says it's admittedly biased. This little factoid that you're about to read came from the Tigers PR guy on Twitter. Now, that's his job to be biased. That I got no problem.
Where's the biased cat?
But there should be a little critical thinking. Well, you can't play the biased cat for the PR guys. That's their job.
Whenever the word bias is mentioned on this show, there has to be a cat sound. You know how it works.
No.
Got to have a little fun here.
So read the factoid, and then we'll take it apart.
So here's the factoid. Miguel Cabrera ripped his league-leading 44th home run, becoming the only...
He didn't poke it, right?
Becoming the only third player in Major League history after that blast to have 201 hits, 44 home runs, 40 doubles, and
201 hits.
137 RBI in a single season. The other two, maybe you heard of them. A guy named Lou Gehrig did it twice, and the other fella, Babe Ruth. Shouldn't the Angels' Mike Trout just offer his MVP concession speech after Cabrera's 4-for-5 night pushed him even closer to baseball's first Triple Crown in 45 years? Thanks for the great podcast. That's Mark writing in. I don't think that's the Mark who did Monday's show. Look,
Mike Trout's
know.
MVP concession speech was 4 hits off Felix Hernandez.
He had a pretty good night, too.
He did. He was a home run short of the cycle, actually.
We've gone ad nauseum on the topic here, and you're not changing your mind, and I'm not changing mine. Now, I think we probably both agree who is going to win it, and he's deserving. I mean, I can't make. Are you going to say he's not deserving? You don't think you don't think Cabrera's deserving?
He's not the most valuable.
No, I don't. I agree with that.
This is for the most valuable.
But wait a second.
You're either the most valuable or you're not. Now, in the National League, there's a pretty wide group of guys who are tightly bunched in value. And it is subjective at that point because the advanced metrics don't really provide us with a clear answer. And you can start to talk about a lot of fairly minor factors to separate Posey, Molina, Braun, McCutchen, Headley, even David Wright. Headley and Wright have no chance. I don't think McCutchen has a chance at this point either. But those guys are all pretty tightly bunched in value. Mike Trout is so much more valuable than Miguel Cabrera that the Cabrera supporters are contorting themselves to come up with arguments that he's deserving. Well, he's going to win a Triple Crown, so he deserves it. Well, the Tigers are going to the playoffs, and the Angels aren't, even though the Angels have a better record. So Cabrera deserves it. Well, it's not about deserving. It's just who's the most valuable. And in this case, they're not even remotely close. Trout obliterates Cabrera in value delivered.
See,
Trout's done absolutely everything he could since the day he was called up to put the Angels in the playoffs. And I believe they actually have the best record in baseball. I hate this, even bringing this up, but they have the best record in baseball, I think, since the day he was recalled.
Wow. Just pick a day.
Can't blame their poor performance on him.
Pick a day, any day. I love that. Over the last 14 games, this guy's been more valuable.
Yes.
My
arbitrary endpoints.
The difference I'm taking with you here is if you say that Miguel Cabrera is a non-deserving MVP winner, I have a problem with that. I think he's deserving. I think Trout is more deserving. But we're talking about subjective things the whole time. The valuable part of most valuable player is subjective in the first place. So I don't want people to think...
What's subjective about value, though?
Well, because the way...
I don't see that as subjective.
You're using value only as wins above replacement. That's the only thing you're looking at.
No. That's a way to look at it.
I don't want to shorten...
I'm looking at value as the actual value of the player's production. What did the player do? He was given these opportunities to hit, to play the field, to run the bases, and here's the value that he delivered. Wins above replacement is one way to quantify that value. There are other ways, and I have never at any point argued, well, it's got to be wins above replacement. I'm not saying the war leader has to be the MVP. That's a bad argument, and I'm certainly not making it. However, no one's actually shown me a rational way to look at value that puts anybody,
that's my point,
Cabrera or anyone else, over Trout.
Oh, well, I don't want you to come across on this show as saying Cabrera didn't have a good year. Because I think people are looking at it that way. Cabrera's had a monster year.
Because that's what they want. Because that's a straw man. You can't attack. My argument all along has been Trout has produced more value. If you compare their performances, offense, defense, base running, value relative to position, ballparks, not even getting into caliber of competition. Miguel Cabrera got to beat up Bruce Chen in the Royals bullpen last night. Even leave that out. You actually look at the value, add up what they've contributed, Trout wins. Trout wins by a huge margin. Cabrera supporters can't make a comparable rational argument for their guy. This isn't Posey Molina or Posey Braun, where there are strong rational arguments in favor of each of those guys. Here, Trout destroys Cabrera if you stick to the rational. You start going into the, not even the beyond subjective, we start to delve into the irrational. And that's what Cabrera supporters have to do, or they have to create these straw man arguments for the other side. Well, how can you say Cabrera didn't have a good year? I never said that. You never said that.
No, absolutely
He
not.
just didn't have the best year. That's all this is. MVP is it's one guy. It's not the most valuable 5 players. It's the most valuable player. And it's very clear in the American League who that is. In the National League, it's wide open. But that's not who we're talking about here.